and welcome. Markets are at record highs. Have you taken advantage? If you haven't, then here's your chance. You can talk to us, ask your questions, and we will get you the replies. Markets today has had a makeover. You can talk back to us on the show with your stock queries, and our experts will answer them. Just tweet your queries using hashtag AskCNBCTV18. We will try and get answers to your questions from experts over the next 30 minutes. Good evening and welcome to this brand new show. I'm Lata Venkatesh.
Well, Lata, before we get started and take all of those questions that have been coming in, let's talk about the 4 things that you need to know about today's market action. Number 1, it was a range-bound day. We pretty much ended the day where we began. The Sensex gained just about 7 points to remain within kissing distance of the 30,000 mark. Number 2,
Bank Nifty saw some marginal cuts. Syndicate Bank, Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank reported fourth quarter numbers, and asset quality remains a big concern.
Number 3, strong order inflow numbers from ABB India take the stock higher by nearly 9%. All other capital goods stocks also rise in tandem.
Number 4, Interglobe Aviation rises ahead of fourth quarter numbers, which came out after markets shut shop. The numbers disappointed on several parameters. Well, those were the headlines, and joining us on the show to discuss the markets as well as answer all your stock questions is Ashu Badaan, President of Core Client Group at Religare Securities. As well, we are joined by Mitesh Thakkar, proprietor, miteshthakkar.com. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the show. But before we come to you, first a roundup of the day's market action with Anuj Singhal. Tell us, Anuj.
Well, good day once again. If you got your stocks right, it's been that kind of a market, struggling a bit at the higher end, but not falling off too much. So clearly, there is enough buying at higher levels as well. Capital goods today was the sector of the day. There was quite a bit of buying after ABB's numbers, and IT stocks have managed to bounce back. The problem for the market is that the bounce back is coming at the expense of banks falling, especially PSU banks. As I said, capital goods really the space to focus on today. So names like L&T, ABB, Siemens, all these stocks were surging today. Apart from that, IT in the index made come back once again. So stocks like Wipro, HCL Tech, Tech Mahindra. Currency also depreciated quite a bit in today's trade. On the losing end, Hero Moto ahead of its numbers was the top nifty loser. Indiabulls Housing saw some profit taking, and Lupin was lower as well. Banks also fell today. Especially the outperforming ones, SBI, ICICI, Bank of Baroda saw some profit taking. In the F&O space, there were a lot of gainers today. Godrej Consumer, Capital First, CG Power. And on the losing end, you had stocks like Canara Bank, Union Bank, and also Titan. So all in all, once again, a good day for the bulls. And even at the index, it looks like a matter of time before that breakout happens, because that's been the template of this market over the last 6 months.
Okay, point taken, Anuj. But now we have to make way for our callers. Ashu and Mitesh, just get ready. I think the first caller has already rung in. Yes, Saumen Bose from Kolkata is on the phone line with us. Saumen, go ahead. What is your question?
Ma'am, I'm holding 250 shares of Power Grid Corporation.
Okay.
For 140s. I've been holding this for about 8 years. Okay. What should I do?
Oh, wow. You are a long-term investor, aren't you? Ashu, what's your advice to Saumen?
I think since he has been such a patient investor, and 8 years is a pretty long period, and good to hear, the current crop of current generation, somebody is holding for 8 years. So I think one should wait for some more time, and he should carry on with this patience and wait for another 2 years. It will become a good beggar story. The way the stocks are moving up, Lata, currently this is definitely a stock-specific market. Index is deceptive, and most of the money would be made only by being in selective stocks. So I think he's in the right space. It's going to grow. So I would say continue holding it. If you have been such a patient investor, 8 years is a long period. Wait for another 2 years. You'll get much better returns.
Okay, all right. Mitesh, do you have a view on Power Grid? The stock's had a dream run close to its 52-week highs.
I do, but I think, if somebody is looking to hold for long-term, Power Grid may not be the best stock. I think it doesn't enjoy the beta, though I think you're right to say that the trend remains on the upside. I would rather go into a sector which can possibly, give returns which are much higher than a Power Grid. I think I would suggest switching into capital goods. I think a lot of couple of good stocks are showing very promising patterns on the longer term charts, and I think that there's some kind of recovery playing out there. And stocks like GE, TND, even as Siemens, I think we had ABB and Siemens, of course, make fresh highs. But I think all these stocks are showing signs of an uptrend which could last for next 6 to 8 quarters to come by. So I think that is where I would possibly focus upon. And these stocks also enjoy a better beta.
Okay. So, well, as you can see, Saumin, you won't do too badly with Power Grid, but our technical advisor believes there could be other stocks that you could look at for future investments if you're interested. Okay, well, before we get to the next caller, Mitesh, I just wanted to ask you how the market is poised. It's 2 days. Yesterday it was a ranged market. Today it's just not been able to make progress over yesterday. So how do you approach the market tomorrow? Or, for that matter, a positional trade for a month, for 2 months?
I think, possibly going for some kind of buy on dip strategy. I think we've clearly gone into a range, and it's been a narrowing market as yet, and I think that could remain. But as long as we don't break 9100, that's the medium-term trend level. So I think that becomes a important stop loss. So any decline to about 9230, 9200 would be an area where I would buy if I'm a positional trader. I think the trend still remains on the upside, and we would see higher levels. The only thing is that we are getting into some kind of one sectoral churn and a consolidation on the Nifty.
Okay, that's market view for the day. Let's now move on. I'm getting a Twitter query here. It's from Luke Norona. His question is actually on Hindustan Unilever. He's got 40,000 shares of Lever, and believe it or not, he's been holding for 50 years. So this seems like perhaps family silver. Now, he's a long-term investor and wants to know what he should do, whether he should just simply keep riding along with Lever. Very interesting query. Ashu, let me put this to you. Rarely do we get callers who've been holding shares for such a long period of time. What do you think of Lever? Can it continue its good show?
Yes, I think, in spite of all these competition and threats from Patanjali's of the world and everything, I mean, though they are for real, I don't deny that. See, we've already, 50 years, had it been any other stock, so I think the first few years or 20 years must have been a dream run, and last 20 years, I don't think so the kind of returns, everybody expected to be generated out of Lever. Like you mentioned family silver, there were other silvers which were converted into gold, but incidentally, it has not given that kind of return which one expects us to be, holding a blue chip stock for 50 years. But I still feel, for a very short term, I feel this is a dark horse. It's giving some signals of breaking out. We have recommended long for this expiry also. So, it's safe bet to say that long term somebody should hold. But I think for Lever, I would have a very short term view or a medium term view. I think that my view is positive and we'll see upside. But as I think, if such a long investor, long term, either it has to be a totally different call that get out of Lever and do something else. Otherwise, I think 50 years is something that, couple of years here and there and 100 points here and there doesn't make a difference to you. So I think keep holding, and probably there are better ways to, do better, using this Lever and generate better returns out of the market.
50 years ago, I was just counting, you must have bought it at divestment time. 1973 was the divestment, so that's what, 27 years then, and another 17 years almost after divestment. So you must have got it at 100 rupees because one share was 100 rupees then, and then it got split into a 10 rupee and then into a 1 rupee share. So he's practically bought it for a song. 5,000 rupee initial investment, and he must have made so much by way of dividends by now. That 5,000 itself would have been made many times over just by dividend. So you just have to keep it on. Go to our next Twitter query. Well, this one comes from Sailesh Bhatia. He has written to us about Kaveri Seeds, owns about 500 shares at 570 rupees each. He calls himself a long-term investor, wants advice on whether to hold or sell the stock. So, Mitesh, why don't you take a jab at that? Kaveri Seeds, what is the positional view? Since he's been holding it, I guess he doesn't want a tomorrow view. He wants it for the slightly longer term.
I think he's looking at a longer term picture, and that's good as well. It's not one of the best charts, but I think the stock, after going through a big correction from 1,050 to about 300, has gone into medium to longer term uptrend. As long as 470 doesn't break, I think the trend should be on the upside, and I would look at targets close to about 740 if I was to give it about 12 to 18 months kind of time frame. So one is that you can hold with a stop below 470. If it comes down to 520, 510, add more, and look at 730, 750 as the price range to exit in the next 18 months.
Okay, that's the call coming in. Let's move on to the next question. This one's actually a caller who's dialing in now. Rajan Damania from Mumbai. Hello, Mr. Damania. How can we help you?
Ma'am, I am holding a 1,300 shares of the Balaji Tele.
Okay.
And I am holding it since last 6 months. So what do I have to do?
You're holding for the last 6 months. Okay, wondering if you're going to make money on it or not. Let's ask our experts here. Now, Ashu, Balaji Tele has been interesting. I mean, they've been talking about a lot of sort of raging within the business model, how to monetize content better, focusing on digital in a big manner, talking about new shows, etc. Do you think you should be patient, or do you think that there's not much money to be made here at 120?
See, should be all said and done, I've seen that irrespective of all the noise and positives which they're doing, and we have seen recent spike in the stock also. But I don't feel, I'm not too convinced about the company. I mean, if you look at the balance sheet, if you look at, I mean, it doesn't depict the things they talk and the things, the visibility, the visibility which they talk doesn't reflect into numbers. So I think it has not gone anywhere. It has been a laggard, though because of the, euphoria in the sector, at times we have seen some kind of spikes, and because of, coupled with some corporate action. But beyond that, I don't see there's much life to it. So on the contrary, somebody should switch into some other stock. Probably his acquisition is currently near to the prevalent price. Probably wait for some more time, wait for a spike, get out of, don't lose money, at least get out of a strike price which is higher than the acquisition price, and probably switch into some other stock.
Okay, actually, Ashu, we are getting a torrential number of Twitter queries. We'll do one thing. We'll just take a break and then try and get some more Twitter questions. Keep tweeting. We'll try and pack in as much with our guests. In a minute, we are back.